In an unexpected twist that played out in the wide-open skies, a Russian helicopter ventured off its usual path. The story took flight when an Mi-8, a versatile workhorse, quietly slipped away from its Russian confines, never to return. Instead, Ukraine became the backdrop for this intriguing narrative, unveiling a plot meticulously hatched by Ukraine's Defense Intelligence Directorate. As caught on camera, the Mi-8, an icon of Russian aerial capability, had switched sides, puzzling friends and foes alike. The pilot was then drawn into a web of intrigue, spun by Ukrainian intelligence, which claimed to have lured the Russian element to their side. Conflicting accounts have come from either side of the war. However, after the pilot and helicopter were bluntly handed over to the Ukrainians, and a valuable payload required on the front lines was captured, the question remains, what is the truth? Russia's military prowess in the ongoing conflict has been punctuated by the devastating impact of its air force, even though it has not achieved complete aerial dominance over Ukraine. The might of Russian jets and helicopters has been harnessed to rain down missiles and unguided bombs on Ukrainian targets, escalating the humanitarian crisis. Furthermore, their tactical support has bolstered frontline troops, acting as a reliable barrier that thwarts Ukrainian counteroffensives. From the moment hostilities erupted, Ukraine has diligently advocated for increased air defenses and aircraft support from its Western allies. This persistent effort culminated in a recent commitment from Denmark and the Netherlands to supply dozens of F-16 fighter jets. However, the deployment process is contingent upon pilot training and proficiency, given the necessity for new crew members to enhance their English language skills before mastering the operation and maintenance of these aircraft. Their induction is anticipated to extend well into the following year. Ukraine's own Air Force, composed of Soviet-era aircraft, currently engages in a limited number of low-risk combat sorties each day. The stark reality is that their fleet remains vastly outnumbered by Russia's superior counterparts. While Moscow strategically employs its air force with restraint in frontline zones, the sheer size of its aerial arsenal poses a persistent and substantial threat. In the grand scope of Russia's expansive air force, the defection of a highly skilled pilot, hypothetically achieved through a successful Ukrainian intelligence mission, holds the potential to deal a more palpable blow than the loss of a single helicopter due to crew error. In a recent revelation, a senior Ukrainian official has divulged the intriguing account of a Russian helicopter pilot's defection, wherein he commandeered an Mi-8 helicopter along with unsuspecting crew members and landed in Ukraine. Kirilo Budanov, the head of Ukrainian Defense Intelligence, recounted the unfolding of the incident in an interview, explaining, quote, "We were able to find the right approach to the man. We were able to create conditions to get his whole family out undetected, and eventually create the conditions so that he could take over this aircraft with a crew that did not know what was happening. 2 more people were with him, a full crew of 3 persons in total. When they realized where they had landed, they tried to escape. Unfortunately, they were eliminated. We would prefer to take them alive, but it is what it is." The pilot's audacious defection saw him pilot an Mi-8 helicopter into Ukrainian territory. According to Budanov, the pilot is in good spirits, considering 2 options, but leaning towards staying in Ukraine. However, the media has yet to verify the events of the defection as described. Unsurprisingly, unofficial reports from Russian telegram channels, often acting as surrogates for the Kremlin, allege that the incident was a result of navigational error, rather than an intentional defection. Ukrainian officials have refrained from disclosing critical details surrounding the noteworthy incident involving the controversial Russian military helicopter. The pilot of the Mi-8 reportedly defected from Russian ranks and landed the aircraft in Ukraine. Ukrainian media outlets, although lacking substantiated evidence, suggest that the covert flight concluded at a Ukrainian airbase situated near Poltava, approximately 300 kilometers away from the active conflict zone. Ukraine's military intelligence spokesperson has offered a veiled confirmation of the helicopter's landing within Ukrainian territory. However, adhering to the government's customary discretion regarding intelligence operations, no specific particulars were divulged. Sources from Ukrainian Defense Intelligence as reported by Ukraine's Pravda newspaper, indicate that the twin-engine Mi-8 AMTSH helicopter was en route between two airbases. The pilot's audacious act of defection not only included the intact helicopter, but also essential components for Su-27 and Su-30 fighter jets. Furthermore, the spare aircraft parts were reportedly handed over, bolstering the Ukrainian military's strategic capabilities. This incident sheds light on the intricacies of the ongoing conflict. On its part, the Russian Air Force, recognized for its extensive helicopter fleet, boasts a total of 783 Mi-8 helicopters, alongside the more contemporary Mi-17 models, as documented by Syrian fleet data. Russian sources offer differing narratives. One suggests the helicopter mistakenly landed in the central region of Poltava. Alternatively, another claims it diverted to the Ukrainian town of Vovshansk, located near the Russian border. Russian blogger Fighter Bomber, closely linked to the Russian Air Force, depicted the cross-border flight as an accident. According to the analyst, quote, "The crew, for some reason, lost their bearings and crossed the border. Realizing where they landed, they made an attempt to take off, but were shot while the helicopter was on the ground. Presumably, 2 board members died, and the commander was taken hostage." Although he dismissed claims that the pilot's family was in Ukraine, and also assured to be in contact with relatives of the crew involved, he inadvertently confirmed that the image circulating in Ukrainian media and the entire world was indeed that of a missing Mi-8. On the other hand, the Russian telegram channel Voyny Ostrodomitol asserted that Ukrainian intelligence enticed the pilot to cross into Ukrainian airspace, alleging that the helicopter was transporting spare parts for Su-30SM and Su-27 fighter jets. This report also lamented the demise of the other 2 crew members as they attempted to flee. As spokesperson Andriy Yusov told state television, "There will be official information to clarify the events sometime soon, but the public will need to be patient while the authorities work on such an odd incident. Evidently, the efforts include the crew." On his part, Ukrainian journalist Yuri Butusov, renowned for his connections within the defense ministry, confirmed that the Mi-8 had indeed landed at a Ukrainian base. He revealed, quote, "The helicopter is fully intact and will be added to the Ukrainian armed forces after a detailed examination of its equipment." According to the media, the pilot is in good condition and the situation is under control. Still, it hasn't been decided whether he will remain in Ukraine or not. Although Ukrainian authorities assure the man is seriously considering staying in the country. But perhaps more pressingly, the event has certainly established a precedent for the Ukrainian intelligence, as Budanov pondered, quote, "No one has done this before, but I hope we can now scale it up." As this extraordinary incident continues to unravel, the question of its authenticity remains to be conclusively answered.